once your onboarding is done, once your account is created in a Daksh application, so you will receive a mail. On a mail, you will also receive your user ID along with the PDF, which contains a step-by-step process of uh, password setting. So once you go to the login page, on the login page, you have to enter your user ID, which is mentioned in a email ID, sorry, in a mail which you have received, and enter a captcha. And once you click on a forget password, you will be navigated to a screen where you have to enter your password two times. One is for means whatever password you want to set, that you want to enter here, and again on a second field you have to confirm that your password. Once you confirm and reset, system will navigate you to a next page where you have to enter. System will ask for your OTP, which OTP will be sent to your registered mobile number, which is given at the time of user creation. So you will receive a more OTP on your registered mobile number. Once you that OTP and validation is done, after accurate authentication, your password will be set. So once your password is set, you will be able to use application on your system. So once you log in, after successful login with your valid credential, once you log in, after successful login, you will be navigate to this page. This is a home page of the Daksh application. This is interface of the home page. Interface of a home page where you can see three panels. One is my communication, my notification, RBI communication, and to-do list. My notification panel contains a list of notification about your task and information about which you must be aware. So this particular section, whatever task assigned to you, once a task is triggered for you, you will receive a notification, and that particular to-do list, which is a third panel, that particular to-do list contain that particular task. There is a separation of tasks based on our module wise. So when if any task is triggered for you for complaints related, then that particular task will fall under a complaints work queue. Any task is triggered for you for compliance module or compliance related, so that particular task will fall under compliance work queue. So this is the interface where you can navigate to your task page, where you can access communication, where you can take update from my notification panel of your task and about other information. So uh, whenever any task is triggered to you, that particular task will be available for you in a to-do list, and you will have to perform this. Whatever tasks are here, these all are pending tasks for you. So how will you know which task will you will have to perform, and what kind of task you can access, and what kind of module data you can access? So it's depend on your role. So how can you see which role you have and which capacities has been assigned to you uh, while user creation by your admin user or admin checker? So what kind of task has been given to privileges has been given to your role has been given to you, how you can check, and what kind of task you will have to perform in the future? That particular thing you can check from your profile. On the top right corner, you can see the name. Once you click on a username, there is one tiny box will open. Once you click on my profile, system will navigate you to a page of your profile where you can see three tabs in a profile. One is main info, device info, and roles. In a main info tab, you can see all your professional and corresponding information. In a device info, as of so you need not to take care about it. And third tab is role. So in that role tab, you can see two tables. One is unassigned roles and one is second is assigned role. So in an unassigned role, there are multiple list line items are there. Also in assigned role, there are multiple line items are there. So assigned roles table contain a list of role which has been assigned to you. Whenever task will be assigned to you associated to these roles, you will be able to access that particular task from your to-do list. If any compliance related task assigned to you, then and you have that role, then only you will be able to see that particular task in your to-do list. And if there is no any role assigned to you, that particular task you will not be able to see. Suppose if any task triggered by your maker user or triggered by RBI officer regarding cyber incident. Now, cyber incident, this particular role is is in an unassigned table. It means that particular role is not assigned to you. So, whenever that task associated with cyber incident checker will be triggered by maker user, you will not be able to access that because you don't have that role. So if you want to work on this kind of task also related to other models also, then you will have to update your profile with new role, what exactly role you want. You have to update that by requesting your admin users and admin checkers. So, and this an assigned role, if there is any task triggered by RV officer, suppose an inspection related task or compliance related task assigned to you, then uh, you will be able to work on that particular task because you have that role, you have that privilege to work on that given by your admin users. So this is how you can check your profile. You can check your profile from going to a right top right corner, clicking on my profile and update your see your updated information, updated role, whatever have been assigned to you. Now, as a user, you are we are going to start what kind of task you will have to perform in a written module. In a written module, there are two types of return. One is ad hoc return and one is a static return. Static return are those return which you have to submit in a certain period or they are based on some rules and regulations. Means they are predetermined, which you have to submit yearly on quarterly basis. The timeline is defined. But ad hoc return are those return which timeline on which content is not predefined. So if they are depend on an ad hoc requirement. Suppose now RBI officers required any particular data from AC, then they will they will create written form and publish it for entity and collect the data. It's depend on situation what kind of requirement on the spot we receive. On that basis, they prepare a questionnaire and they collect the data. So like that, at all ad hoc written form, you will have to submit response. You will have to submit in a Daksh application. So if you have written AC maker role, then you can provide response to this kind of questionnaire. So whenever any written form published for your entity, an ad hoc written form published for your entity, as a AC written maker user, you will receive a notification in my notification panel, and also you will receive a notification, my notification panel, and you also receive a to-do list, a task in your to-do list under written module work queue. Once written form published by RV officer, you will receive notification in my notification section, and also you will receive a task in written module work queue. So once you click on that written response, you will be navigate to a written task search grid page where you can see all previously published written, and in that particular search grid you can see a table where which table contains information about the return, what kind of type of that particular return, number of return, return name, business unit. This particular business unit defined by which department of RBI this particular return has been published for you. Means is this form published by DOS department, DOT department, or this particular return form is published by PPG or ACT. So this particular information you will able to see from here. The submission here is on which year you will have to submit the response, what is the time period for that, what is the due date for that. So, and last is approval status. According to you, what's the status now? So as of now, submission status is in progress and approval status is a draft. Once it is submitted to checker user for approval, whatever response you have submitted to written form and it's submitted to your internal checker, so that status will change to pending for approval. Once it's approved by checker user, then status will change submitted or approved. So this is a line item or task recently added will be always on the top. once you click on ad hoc return, that blue color text, system will navigate you on a detailed page of that return form, where you can see three sections. One of them is basic information, which contains same like basic information about entity as well as return form. In a basic return form, there is two section: reference comment RBI and reference comment uh, attachment RBI. If any common attachment or any common comment given by RBI officers while publishing that particular return form, then that particular comment you can access from here: reference comment RBI and reference attachment or template. Second section is RBI point of contact or RBI point of contact 2. So return form can be published by any department from any department of RBI. It can be published by DOS department. It can be published by DOT department or any particular section of any particular department. So it's not in our hand. So who is going to publish that department? He's a right person and he's more aware about what exactly he's asking and what he's expecting from the users or from the AC. So this particular, if any AC users have any question regarding submission and submission of questions, if AC user have any doubt, means what exactly the expected for as an answer for question number two, what exactly if they require any clarification, what exactly mean of question number one. So whom as users should get in touch with, they should not get in touch with Daksh team or Daksh support team, because that particular form is not published by Daksh support team or Daksh application team. This particular form is published by any other department of RBI. So how Daksh team will aware about it? So right person is to get in touch with for clarification and any doubt. User must contact to make a user of that particular written form. So this is automatically fetched email ID of the user or person who is creating that particular written form. And if you have any doubt while submitting return, uh, you must get in touch with them. So there are two kind of data: RBI point of contact 1, RBI point of contact 2, and business unit. If you are not receiving any response from that RBI point of contact 1 and RBI point of contact 2 mail IDs, then you must mail on a business unit official uh, mail ID of that business unit. Third section is frequency. Here is time, one time. It means this particular form will appear for you to respond only once a year. If there is frequency selected as quarterly, yearly, halfly, so system will publish this particular or populate this particular form on your screen quarterly basis, where you have to provide a response quarterly. So as of now, this particular form frequency is one time. It means this particular form will publish for you only once. In place of that, if there is a quarterly, then you will have to submit the particular form response quarterly. System will populate uh, this particular task on your screen on every as per given date every quarter. Response comment: if there is a common comment you want to provide for all ask question, then you can provide that common comment here. And if there is a common attachment which is reference for all question asked in a below questionnaire, that you can attach that common attachment here. Up to 30 MB multiple files can be attached, but one file size should be up to 30 MB, more not more than that. Third section is questionnaire itself. So RBI officer can ask multiple type of questions and answer can be expected in multiple format. So as you can see, there is a one liner question also asked, uh, MCQ type question also asked. There can be a toggle button, just you have to choose yes or no. Just some type of question can be date selection, date picker will be there. Some type of question where you have to upload attachment, and same rule here is also you have to provide if any question is asked, then you can attach up to 30 MB file, and multiple file can be attached. You can navigate to a next page just by clicking on a next page. You can save it as a draft. Once you answer any question, you can save it as a draft, and once you click on a next button, system can will navigate you to a next page. There can be a question like you can see Yes, sir. Okay. So, you can navigate by just clicking on a next page to a next page, next section of the page, written form. Written form can be of multiple pages, 10 page to 20 page, and one page can contain multiple question. Means at a time, one page can contain 100 or 10 questions also. So you will have to provide a response for every page and every question. Uh, as you can see, some question you will be able to see in providing response to a written form, like some hidden questions will be there. Just like you can see a question number 3. uh, there is a one hidden question. Suppose there can be a question like, was there any board of director meeting held in the last quarter? If your answer is yes, then on which date that particular meeting take place, and by which and kindly provide their minutes of meeting. So this kind of questions also can be asked in a written form. So you must go through all written form once. You must check all toggle buttons before submitting a response. You must unhide all hidden questions, and then you must download. Then only all visible questions will be all covered. All question will be covered in a download template. Otherwise, hidden question will not be covered if you didn't unhide them. So once you complete your response, you must click on a response complete button. Till that time, system will not allow you to submit or send it for approval. So once you click on a response submitted button, so system will enable for you that green color button send for approval. And once you click on send for approval, you will be able to submit this particular written form to checker. So whatever response you have submitted to that written form, that will submitted to your checker user, a person who is holding a role of AC written checker. He will receive a task, he will receive a notification about your submission, and he will, once he review that particular task, as you can see in my second tab, I log in as a AC Imperial Checker 1. So he's my checker user. Checker user will receive a notification in my notification panel, and in a return work queue, he will receive a task. So he can access and he can review and he can approve. Once checker user approve, that particular written form will be submitted to RWA officer. If there can be some due date, which is unrealistic. Some of questions answer is not possible to submit by given due date. It's you require more time for that. So at that time you can request for extension just by clicking on request due date extension button. Once you click on that, one pop-up will open for you where you have to provide fulfill the information. You have whatever date you want to propose, you can select that date, and that particular task will be triggered for after your submission will be triggered for checker user. So once your internal checker approve, this kind of task will open for due date extension. Once your internal checker approve, then that particular request will be triggered for a RWA officer. Now it's in the hands of RWA officer if whatever date you are proposing, accepting that date as a uh, new due date, or he can give so moto due date also as per his understanding of that particular written form. So we just finish the written module. This kind of task you have to perform in a written module as a AC maker user or as a AC checker user. You will have to perform this kind of task. As a AC maker, you will receive a maker user will receive task in his to-do list along with notification in my notification section. You can navigate from there, open that particular form. If you have any doubt, you can get in touch with RBI point of contact 1 and RBI point of contact 2. You can provide response. You can unhide hidden questions just by going through and multiple clicking, and you can submit to checker. Checker user have to approve or reject. If checker user feels it is okay, then checker user can approve and it can be submitted to RBI officer. And if checker user feels it's must be detailed. Then checker user can reject that return form, and maker user will reject again in his to-do list, and maker user have to update that and again submit for checker user. Once checker user approve, then that particular form will be response will be submitted to RV officer. So if you have any question regarding return module, just put into a chat box. We will try to answer. Once that session complete, we will move to next module. Over to you, sir.
Received few queries from different users who will take those questions. But before that, the most important part in the return module, which I want to discuss is please scroll up. This type of returns are in most of the cases they are of ad hoc nature. So they may come appear only once. In certain cases, they may appear twice or thrice based on the requirement of RBI. And the questionnaires are also different from time to time. That is the basic difference we need to understand between the returns which you usually submit in SIMS and the ones which you are going to submit henceforth in Daksh. So Daksh returns are primarily of ad hoc nature. And in case if you have any query regarding the return module in the questionnaire or in the response submission, please do not send mail to Daksh support team, because the role of Daksh team is that of a facilitator. In absence of Daksh application, also the data gathering used to take place, and they used to take place via email. Now we are shifting our focus from email to application, and we are just facilitating the same workflow between RBI and supervised entities via application. That is the role of us. So if you have any particular query in any return, any particular question, or you want some more advice, more clarification, what is exactly expected in that return, then the person who had initiated that return form in RBI is the best person to address your queries. So that is why we have indicated the RBI point of contact one, where Dipraj is currently over pointer. The RBI point of contact one, this is a non-editable field. The system automatically captures the email ID of the RBI user who has created this return form, and the user cannot edit it. So in any case of any query, any confusion, any extension request related queries, you need to approach this particular email ID in your return form. There is no point in asking Daksh team to clarify the questions which are asked or to approve the extension request. Now, the unique feature of the application is that whatever information we are asking, be it in return module or in compliance module, whatever information we are asking, we also indicate the timeline for it. Now, we want to improve the compliance culture of the supervised entities also, because we have observed that even though in email we had mentioned that please submit your response by this and this date, in most of the cases the deadlines are missed. So we want to improve that culture, and that is why Daksh application has the inbuilt feature of due date. And if the due date mentioned thereat is missed somehow, then the application will not allow you to submit your response at all, and that will be captured by the application. That for this entity, the compliance culture is poor, or they have so many times failed to submit their responses on time. And for a given response, for a given query, for a given return form, they have requested so many extensions. So all these information are now getting captured. So that is why you please pay close attention to the due date and try to stick to the timeline. But in case if the deadline is missed, then the application also gives you an alternate channel, that is extension request. Request due date extension, the button which you can see at the left hand side of the screen. You can click on that button and you can request for extension. But whenever uh, you are applying for this extension request, please remember that your extension request must be associated with appropriate comments. There should be business justification why you had missed the response submission in the first place. And when you submit such extension request, such extension requests do not come to Daksh team, because once again the workflow, the Daksh team is no way associated in the workflow. They are just the facilitator of the workflow. The ultimate consumer of the workflow is the SSM team or the team who had initiated that in the RBI and the supervised entity user. Daksh team is just the facilitator. So that is why when the such extension requests are raised by the supervised entities, those requests go to that particular user who had initiated that return. That is why in the RBI point of contact, we have not only mentioned the email ID, but also the business unit of that particular user. The user, there are different users within RBI who are using this return module. They may come from SSM team, they may come from cyber security group, they may come from Department of Regulation. Different groups within RBI are now using it, and they can seek information from the NBFCs from time to time as per their requirement. So whenever you have any such query, you have any extension request, please approach this user. You can submit your extension request, and if you see that your extension request is not being approved, 1 day is passed, two couple of days are passed, you can send mail to that particular user ki we have sent one extension request for this return form, please approve it, so that we can submit our responses. So Daksh team will not entertain any such request on extension request or any such clarification request for any queries. So those need to take place between the point of RBI point of contact and the supervised entity users. And you can request for due date extension at any point of time, before the expiry of the due date, on the expiry of the due date, and after the due date. At any point of time, you can request for extension. And there are a couple of ways in which usually RBI seeks the information. One is through template. There may be some Excel template which they can attach here. You can download it, fill it up, and submit back, just like email correspondence. There are certain additional avenues. For example, the RBI user, instead of creating the questionnaire in any Excel template, may choose to create the questionnaire in the application page itself. So the application, there are two ways for the RBI user. One, the user can choose to create the question in an Excel file, in Excel template, send it, what they are usually doing now via email. And additionally, there is another option that they can create the question in the application. Since the questionnaires, which are the information which are collected from the base layer NBFC users, go to quite a few number of different base layer NBFCs, thousands of NBFCs, for example. If the questionnaire is collected, if the questionnaire is captured in the application can collect all the responses from all the supervised entities together in a single file. So the data analysis part becomes easier for the RBI user. So which type of questionnaire will be created in the application and which type of questionnaire will be created in the Excel file? That is the call taken by the respective RBI user. That call is not taken by the Daksh team. So if the RBI user has decided that I should collect the information via Excel template, that is you can just download it and fill it up and submit back. And if they decide that no, I want the question in the application, then you have to type the responses in the application. So that is the decision by the RBI user. Daksh team doesn't have any say on it. Now, coming to the part of the questionnaire, we have received a few interesting questions, and I believe these questions are useful for almost all the users who are attending this. So this is the first question and answer session. Please be attentive to it. First one is, which mail ID to be used for user onboarding? This is the first question and answer session. Please be attentive to it. First one is, which mail ID to be used for user onboarding? Which mail ID to be used for user onboarding? The user ID is Daksh Support MUM. DAKSHSUPPORT Daksh Operational Support, or Daksh Support MUM @rbi.org.in. And the user has also asked that there are three NBFCs and three users. So how to onboard them? As I have mentioned, for each and every workflow, at least two users are required. And second thing is, a user is identified only by the email address. Okay, the identifier for each and every Daksh user is the email address. So currently, the application does not allow one email ID to be associated with multiple entities. This is one of the system limitation as of now, which we are working on, so that this limitation is no longer there, but it will take some more time for us to get it resolved. So for that, till that time, if you are having three NBFCs, you need to have at least six different email IDs. Even if there are only three users, you need to have six different email IDs. Email IDs can be any personal email ID will also fine. You can just create one Gmail account or Yahoo account. You have to create or Rediffmail account. You have to create 6 different email IDs. So for each and every entity, you need to have at least 2 different email IDs. The user details might be the same, but the email account for base layer NBFCs had to be different so that we can onboard at least 2 email IDs for each of the entities, and the workflows can take place smoothly. Otherwise, the workflow will get stuck. One email ID cannot be associated with multiple entities as of now. It will take at least 4 to 6 months of time for us to get it resolved at a bare minimum. So till that time, we request you that if you are having 3 NBFCs, then please, and three users is a good sign. You arrange for 6 email IDs and give the details to us in the change request form which we have discussed during the presentation. Once the session is over, we'll share this change request form to all the participants as well. Fill up that change request form and duly signed, and with those 6 different email IDs, and we will onboard them. Another question is, will the compliances be on Daksh portal or there is any other portal? There is no, as of now, there is no other portal in RBI which is dealing with compliances. So yes, you can expect all the compliances now from onward to come in Daksh application. Uh, Another user has asked that they have 14 NBFCs. They have 14 NBFCs, out of which only 2 have been onboarded. But rest of the entities, they had sent a mail, but no response was received. Recently, we have revamped our support team, so I believe this grievance will not occur in future. I would request you to kindly share the details of the rest 12 NBFCs and to that email ID, the support email, in that change request format, and we will onboard them. Okay. Next is how to create second user. As I have mentioned, you will not be able to create any second user. There is another related question that the checker has left the firm. How can I change the checker? So whenever you need to onboard a new user or you need to deactivate one existing user, you need to give them new roles and privileges, you need to send us an email. You yourself won't be able to do it. All the user management activities will be done by Daksh support team. So you please send your email to Daksh support MUM giving the details of the users in that change request form appropriately signed, and we will onboard them. Okay, you won't be able to create any new user. We will be doing that, but based on the request which you will send me as attaching the change request format. Next question which we have received is, are the credentials for Daksh and Prabha same? No, they are not. So there are different applications in RBI, in Department of Regulation and Supervision. That is, one is SIMS application, another is Prava application, another is Daksh application. So the purpose of these different applications are different. That is why they are differently built. They are separately built. So since their purposes are also different, their onboarding are also different. If it does not guarantee an entity to be onboarded on Daksh just because they have been onboarded in Prova or SIMS or vice versa. So you need to be onboarded in all these 3 applications, in Prova as well, in Daksh as well, in SIMS as well. And the onboarding process is also different because the applications are handled by different teams. So the credential, it does not guarantee the similarity of the credential as well. Whatever credentials you had given to Prava does not mean that they are the default credential for Daksh. For Daksh, we have already shown the default credential part, that whenever the user first time logs in, the user needs to create her own password. Okay. So there is no relation between the SIMS password and Daksh password. So there are few more questions which have recently landed in the inbox while I was discussing this. We will be taking this once we move to the next module. And next we will see the compliance module. Once the workflow on the compliance module is demonstrated, we will come back again with the questions which you are posting in the chat box.
Okay. So we just finished with the written module. We just we saw the what kind of tasks we have to perform in the Daksh application regarding the written module. Now we are just going to and jumping to a next module, which is a compliance. which is a large model. You have to perform a task in that. So once compliance triggered for you, whether it is a circular compliance or any inspection compliance, once any compliance triggered for you, for your bank, for your entity, all compliance AC Maker role users will receive a notification in their My Notification panel, and also receive a to-do list, a task in their to-do list under compliance for Q compliance AC response. If you have AC compliance maker role in your profile, then you will be able to perform on this task, and you will receive a notification under My Notification panel and task under to-do list once any compliance issued for your entity by RBI officers. So you, as a compliance AC maker, your responsible role user, your responsibility is to provide response to all action para and complete the compliance. And as a compliance AC checker, your task is to approve or reject whatever response is submitted by your maker user. So maker user will receive a task in compliance AC response. This particular task maker user will receive, where he have to select one in inspection ID, and in that inspection ID he have to provide response to that action paras, and that action para will be submitted. Response will be submitted to your internal checker. Internal checker role is AC compliance checker. After AC compliance checker approval, that particular response of that action para of that particular compliance ID will be submitted to RP officer. And if checker user reject that particular compliance action para of that particular compliance ID, then that again come back to maker user for updation along with remark. So any maker have once any task compliance is issued by RA officer, you will receive a task, and you will have to open that particular task compliance AC response. Once you click on that, you will be navigate to a page which is compliance task search grid, where you can see all previously issued compliance for your entity. This particular table contains all early compliance issued earlier, and in that list you can see there are 5 columns. One is compliance ID, subject of that compliance, updated by which business unit is that particular compliance has been issued for your entity. If any compliance is issued by DOR department, PPG department, or DOS department, then that particular business unit name will be here and updated on which day that particular compliance has been uh, issued for your entity. Last column is fifth column is status. So according to AC, what is the status of that particular compliance? That particular status and that particular information we can uh, take from here, or we will know from here. For status, or if there is a separate and different status for all compliance ID. If you see a bottom, there is a pending for response new status and pending for response. Pending for response new means that particular compliance issued for you, but you didn't provide response as of now. You didn't open it. It's fresh for you. Although it was published earlier, but you didn't open that. That is why, and you didn't provide response to that. You didn't submit any response to that. You will make a checker use also, and not to our way also. So that is why that particular as is still fresh for you, because you didn't open that. That is why pending for response new. If you see exactly above compliance ID status is pending for response. It means you open that particular compliance ID, you provide response, and you submit it to checker. Now it is up to you. It is not submitted to RBI. It is under a queue in a queue of AC maker user or AC checker user. It's not submitted to RBI officer as of now. It may be in their draft stage, or it may be in their uh, pending for approval stage. That is why that particular status of that compliance ID is pending for response. And third type of status is compliance partially responded. It means if there are 10 action paras, out of 10 action para, 3 or 2 or at least one action para response is submitted to RBI after approval of internal checker. So at that time, if few action para response is submitted to RBI, that particular compliance ID status will be partially responded. So in that particular search grid, we can see three type of status for a compliance ID. One is pending for response. When it is fresh, you didn't open, you didn't submit it to RBI. At that time, your status of that particular compliance ID will be pending for response new. Once you open, you keep some of action paras response in a draft, and so or you have submitted it to the internal checker, but not submitted to RBI officer as of now. At that time, status will be pending for response. And third type of is compliance partially responded. It means compliance partially responded means some of action para has been submitted to RBI, some of in under the maker user screen or some of to checker user screen pending for approval. So how you can see in detail. So once you click on a compliance ID and how can you provide response to that particular compliance action para. So once you click on that hyperlink, system will navigate you a detailed page of that particular compliance ID. On the page you can see compliance ID and its status in a blue card. Compliance partially responded. Exactly number, total paras, total action paras means so there are 6 action paras, total non-actionable action paras. Non-actionable action paras are those action paras which are issued or which are added in an index only for knowledge purpose, only for view purpose. You not have to provide any response to that particular action para. They are just only for update. So these kind of action para are considered as a non-action para, non-actionable action paras. So there is a zero, means out of 6, all action paras are actionable. As a AC maker user, I have to provide response to all action paras. Total main action paras same. If there is how many total action paras there, how many are actionable, and how many out of them non-actionable. So this particular count you will be able to see here, and you can see the progress bar. This progress bar indicates your submission. Out of 6, how many action paras are submitted. So action paras submitted 2 out of 6, and according to our submission number, we are able to see here our progress bar. So 33% of our submission is done. It is not indicating that 33% is complied or not complied. It's only indicating that only out of 6, 2 action paras are submitted and your 33% submission is done. It's not indicating it is complied or not complied. Below that you can see, okay, now you can see there are two tables or two windows. On the first left side left side table you can see a list of action paras. This particular table contain a list of action paras added in that particular compliance. So this particular index con- contained of 5 columns. One is serial number, action para ID. Action para ID is a child number of child action para. Just like you can see, 4 is a parent action para and 4.2 is a child action para. 4.1 is a child action para of 0.1. So this particular idea will be able to you will be able to gain from here. Action para description. This is two-liner description of that particular action para. Due date. Due date, by which due date you have to provide a response. If you cross that date and you try to submit response on that date, you will not be able to provide a response, or system will not accept your response for that particular action para if you cross that date. And last column is status. So here also we are able to see different type of status for all action paras. So what exactly the first action para status mean? Pending for response new. Same here is also you provide a response once you click on any line item, that selected action para will open in detail in other window. If you see here, if I click on a second number action para, so second number action para detail will update in this window where I can see serial number 2. Because I have selected second action para, so that's a second action para detail open in detail here. Action para ID, there is a blank, that's why here is also blank. Due date, response status. As of now, response draft is actionable. Yes, it is non-action. It is not non-actionable. It is actionable. So you have to provide a response for that. Action para in description. Response type, where you have to provide response for action para. Status AC status. View all response. View all response files. So this kind of all detail you will be able to see here. Now again we are going to see a status. What exactly the status mean? Pending for response new, it means you just open. It is open for you. As of now, you didn't even provide response once. It is up to you. It is not submitted to your internal checker. It is not even save it as a draft. You just open it and just going through it. You did not even save it as a draft. As that is why it's fresh for you. It's new for you. So when any action pair is fresh for you, you didn't provide response at least one. At that time, status of that particular action para will be pending for response new. My second action para status is response draft. It means as a maker user, I open that particular action para, and as a maker user, I enter some input in my response type, that particular field, and enter my response, attach some attachment. But I just click on that green button. I click on that checkbox and click on that green button. So whatever work I have done in that particular action para field, all work gets saved. It is saved as a draft, not submitted to checker also, your internal checker also, and not submitted to RBI officers also. It is up to you, and it is in a draft stage. So you will not be rework again. Whatever either you have done partially, you just partially uh, respond your answer or type your answer, and you are waiting for any additional attachment and additional response. So whatever work you have done, you can just save that as a draft, and when it is in a draft stage, it is your internal draft stage of a maker. At that time, status of that particular action para will be response draft. It means it is not submitted to internal checker, it is not submitted to RBI, it is just draft stage. My third action para status is rejected. Rejected means it does not mean it is rejected by RV officer. Rejected means it is rejected by your internal checker. So once you click on that, once you provide a response, add a additional attachment, submit to your intern, and as a maker user, you click save that, click on a checkbox, and send it for approval, your internal checker. And now internal checker reject that particular transaction. And when internal checker reject the transaction, at that time, that particular action para status will change with the status will change and will show rejected. So rejected means it is rejected by your internal checker. So when it is rejected, maker user will be able to work on that. Maker user can update his response as per a remark, and when it is rejected, you can see checker user when he is rejecting. So recently added comment will be always on the top. So you can see here take remark of your checker user, AC checker user. So AC checker user remark is kindly update. So you can update that particular response rejected by your checker user, and you can submit it again. But when it is rejected and come back to you, is its status of that particular action para will be rejected. My fourth action para status is response submitted. It means it is a happy flow where maker user as a person who is holding a role of AC compliance maker user, a person who have a role of AC compliance maker, that person will be able to submit that particular response. He submit to checker user, a person who have role of AC compliance checker. That checker user approve that particular response which has been submitted by maker user, and after checker user approval, that response submitted to RBI. So when response is in a queue of RBI officer and when response is submitted to RBI officer, it is uh, work is done from your side for that particular action para. At that time, status of that particular action para will be response submitted. When maker user submitted to checker user approve, and after checker user approval, that particular action para response along with attachment will be submitted to RBI officer. So at that time, status will be response submitted. It is as of now, it is in a queue of RBI officer. RBI officer didn't consider it as a complied or not complied. It is just in a queue. He didn't act on it as of now. That is why response submitted status is there only. My fifth action para status is pending for response draft. So when RBI officer submit whatever you have submitted to RBI officer, when status will be response submitted, and after submission, and after submission, when it come RBI officer feels that particular action para should be complied more and response should be in more detail. At that time, RBI officer will consider is a not complied. When RBI officer mark that particular response as a not complied, at that time status of your action para will be open again pending for response. So difference between pending for response and pending for response, new and pending for response is that when you are submitting response after RBI officer review, it open for you to resubmission, it open for your second attempt. At that time, status will be pending for response. And when at the first time you are submitting to response to RBI officer, at that time pending for response new will be there. So when pending for response will be there at that time, status will it's your second or third attempt, it is reopened by RBI officer. He is not satisfied with your answer and he considered that your response has a not complied and he want response in detail again. From he's expecting response in detail again. At that time, pending for response, status of that particular response, when status particular action para open again for you to response, at that time pending for response will be status. My sixth action para status is submitted for approval. It means as a AC compliance maker user, you provide a response to action para and submit it to checker user. Now, checker user not even approve or not he reject that particular. It's just in his queue. So when that particular response is pending with your internal checker, at that time pending for approval status will be there. Now, uh, let's see the concept of continuous submission. Okay. Now, according to you, there could be some action paras. There could be some action paras uh, whose due date is unrealistic. You means providing a response, providing a response to that action para in a given due date is not possible. So at that time, what you can do, you can submit your response in partial manner for that particular action para. Means in for means in a segment you can submit your response. Means you can you whatever the current status you can update with that RBI officer and request for extension also. If your next response proposal date is crossing original due date range, then that particular proposed date will be considered as a request for extension. And if your next response proposed date is between a date range of original due date, at that time, your proposed date will be considered as a next response date. It will not be considered as an extension request for extension. So when you are suppose you feel it is not possible for you to provide a response by 13th of September, at that time what you have to do is you have to click on that calendar icon and propose date by which date you will be able to provide a response. Suppose the date is of December, 10th of December you will be able to submit. So this particular date which I have selected and which I am proposing, it is crossing a date range of 13 September. It means it is beyond that date. So at that time, system will consider it as an extension request. You can also see a note here. The due date extension will be automatically triggered to AC approval the action para. So here you have to provide, if you are selecting next response or next status submission date is uh, crossing the due date range, at that time you have to provide an uh, extension comment, a valid reason why you are not able to provide response by that date. So once you provide a response comment and date, and once you submit, and after checker use it, that particular transaction will go for checker user approval. So checker user will receive two tasks in his to-do list. One is under a compliance module. As you can see, once you submit from here, checker user under the compliance work, he will receive a two requests. One is for compliance extension request, and second is compliance AC response review. AC response review, that particular to-do list contains response of action para submitted by maker user for approval, and you have to just review and approve. If checker user feels it is okay, then he can approve that and submit it to RBI officer. And if checker user feels whatever response has been submitted by maker user, he has to more update, then he can reject that, and again that particular action paragraph will be available for uh, maker user for responding again for updation. So whatever now, by this way you can request for extension for that particular action paragraph, and you can propose your date for next submission. You can attach multiple attachment up to 30 MB. You can see view all response. Under this section you can see, suppose now your third attempt, there is a cycle is going on between you and RBI. You have submitted a response. RBI officer dissatisfied with your response. He considered it as a not complied. Again, that particular action para open for you with the status pending response. Again, you update response, submit to checker it as a not complied. Now it's your third attempt. So where you can see what was your previous response, means now it is available for you to response again. Now this field is editable for you, response type. So where you can access your previous response submitted. So all your previously responded uh, response will, you will be able to access from here, view all response. So all your previous response with their time and date, you will be able to access from here, view all response. If you have attached any attachment along with your previous response, then you can also access that particular attachment from view all response file. And there is a view all remark. View all remark contains a two segment. One is the internal comment and external comment. So in once you click on a view all remark, system will open two sections for you. One is internal comment and external comment. So internal comment is a communication between maker and checker. It is up to you. This particular section is not visible to RBI officer. Whatever means, while submitting your action para to checker for approval, what you have requested, what questions you have asked, or what you requested to checker user, at so that particular comment will be available here. And while rejecting or approving, what was a checker user remark? So that particular communication between maker user and checker user, your internal maker user and checker user, will be captured here. External comment. So while rejecting that particular action para, what RBI officer's comment was, what exactly the RBI officer is expecting in our next response, why he is dissatisfied. So that particular comment by RBI officer, what exactly he is expecting from us, that you will be able to access from external comment section. External comment section, here you can see in a bracket SSM final. In place of that, a reviewing reviewer person, a reviewer officer business unit will be there. Here could be a PPG, DOS, ACD. And in internal comment in bracket, here is the Imperial Bank of India. It is a dummy data. In place of that, you will be able to see your entity name. External file upload means if means while commenting on your response, RV officer attach any attachment for your reference. So that particular external file you will be able to access from here. So this is the flow of the compliance. There are some compliance if you want to request for extension in a group, so you can just click on a request for extension. Once you click on that request for extension button, a page will open for you where you can see same index like compliance index, serial number, action pair ID, description, status of that particular compliance action para, proposed date if any given by while proposing or by while submitting a response. If any date is selected as a proposed date, then it will be there. AC requested date, current due date, what was the original due date given by RBI officer while publishing that compliance, and what is the requested date for extension. So you can also request for extension from here. Once you click on a due date extension button, this particular page will be open for you, and here you can select on a header section, you can select date which you want to propose. So whatever date you are selecting here, that particular date will be applicable to all below action paras. And once you click on a checkbox and submit button, once you click on this particular checkbox and submit, click on a submit button, wow, the due date will be triggered for all. But you will have to keep in mind, along with the due date, you will have to put a common valid reason why you are expecting to extend due date. What is a valid reason? So you will have to provide here exactly the reason why you, for a due date extension. So if there is a common reason or common remark you have for all committees, so there are, suppose there are 10 action paras or 100 action paras, so what if there is a common remark for all, then you can just put common comment here, and that will be applicable to all below action para. And once you select checkbox and click on a submit button, so due date will be, request will be triggered to all selected action para, and task will be submitted to checker user. Once checker user approve your request for extension for selected action para, then request for extension for selected action para will be triggered to RB officer. And once RB officer approve that request, the new date will be updated. You will be able to submit according to new due date. So we just done with the compliance flow. What exactly the task compliance maker user and compliance checker user have to perform in a Daksh application. So you can uh, perform from that time that task now. If you have any question regarding compliance module, just put into a chat box. We will try to answer it. Over to you, sir.